Google fires 12,000 people in January 2023. That's 12,000 salaries, 12,000 benefit packages gone. By any reasonable logic, costs should drop fast. So why did Alphabet's Q1 2023 earnings show a $2.1 billion charge hitting the books in a single quarter? Not savings, a bill. The cost of firing 12,000 people was nearly half of what those people earned in an entire year, paid out in 3 months, and full-year operating expenses still rose year over year. The announcement said cost discipline. The income statement said otherwise. This is not a Google anomaly. Microsoft cut 10,000 employees in early 2023 and recorded a $1.2 billion restructuring charge. Severance, lease write-downs, hardware disposals, all in one quarter before a single dollar of savings cleared the books. Meta cut 21,000 employees across 2022 and 2023. Total operating expenses moved from $87.7 billion to over $88 billion. Headcount fell 22%. The cost base barely flinched. The assumption that layoffs cut costs is not vaguely wrong. It is precisely quantifiably wrong in the short run, and structurally replaced by new spending in the long run. 3 mechanisms explain why. The first hits before the ink dries on the severance agreements. Mechanism 1, the Severance Sink. When a company lays off a senior engineer earning $300,000 a year, it does not pocket $300,000. It writes a check immediately. Severance at FANG tier firms runs 16 to 26 weeks of base pay. That's $75,000 to $150,000 per person before anything else. Then comes accelerated vesting. Many senior engineers are mid-cycle on RSU grants worth hundreds of thousands. Layoffs trigger partial acceleration, a non-cash expense, but a real one on the income statement. Add COBRA health continuation subsidies, up to 18 months of employer-covered premiums. Add outplacement contracts, legal review, and WARN Act notice period payouts for any state where the 60-day rule triggered. Now multiply across a cohort. Meta's 2022 layoff round, roughly 11,000 employees, generated a $4.2 billion restructuring charge, approximately $380,000 per departing employee before a single replacement is hired. That's exactly why GAAP accounting rules force all of this into the quarter the decision is made, so the income statement looks worse in the cut period, not better. The payback period, the point where cumulative savings finally exceed cumulative exit costs, stretches 12 to 24 months out, and by then, Mechanism 2 has already quietly rebuilt the cost base. Mechanism 2, the Boomerang Contractor. Tech companies almost never eliminate the work that laid-off employees were doing. They eliminate the headcount line. The work remains. A 7-year-old internal API has no documentation. The product roadmap does not pause. The only person who knows why a critical system behaves the way it does just signed a severance agreement. So within 90 days, sometimes sooner, that person gets a call from a staffing firm. Microsoft's 2023 layoff rounds were followed by documented cases of laid-off engineers re-engaged through third-party vendors within weeks. The contractor bills at 1.4 to 2.2 times the fully loaded employee cost. Turns out that spend shows up in COGS or vendor expenses, not headcount. So the CEO can accurately say, we reduced headcount 10%, while the actual human labor cost recovers to near baseline within 2 quarters. Roughly 40 to 75% of laid-off tech workers are rehired within 12 months, often at effective rates that include agency markups of 20 to 40%. The savings evaporated, the headcount number stayed low. Both statements are simultaneously true, which is why neither captures where the real money actually went, because that requires looking at a different line of the financial statements entirely. Run the tape. $2.1 billion left Alphabet's books in Q1 as severance. Contractor invoices quietly rebuilt the labor cost by Q3. Net savings on human capital close to zero, but that still leaves the question of where the salary budget was actually redirected, because it didn't vanish. It got a new accounting column. Mechanism 3, the AI Capex Substitution. On Alphabet's Q1 2023 earnings call, Sundar Pichai said the workforce reduction would create capacity to invest boldly in AI. That was not a metaphor, it was a budget memo. Google expanded its cloud AI infrastructure by billions. In the same fiscal year, it cut 12,000 jobs. Microsoft cut 10,000 employees in January 2023 and confirmed a $10 billion investment tranche into OpenAI that same month. The salary line shrank. The depreciation and capex lines expanded by a larger amount. Meta is the clearest case. Headcount down 22% in 2023. Capital expenditure guidance raised to $35 to $40 billion for 2024, primarily NVIDIA GPU clusters and custom AI accelerator chips. Meta, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon combined spent over $200 billion in capex in 2024 alone. The answer is cost-based rotation, not cost reduction. Salaries or operating expenses, they hit the income statement immediately. GPU clusters are capital expenditure. They depreciate over 5 to 10 years, so the income statement hit is spread and looks smaller. Wall Street rewards capex as a signal of future revenue. It penalizes headcount as present overhead. The companies understood the optics. The cost base did not shrink. It was reclassified. So why do companies keep announcing layoffs if the savings rarely materialize? The answer is that a layoff press release does three things a cost reduction memo cannot. First, it signals a strategic pivot to investors faster than any earnings guidance update. We are an AI company now lands harder when it comes with 10,000 fewer non-AI employees. Second, it resets the compensation band. Rehires, whether full-time or contractor, come in at lower base salaries than the people who left, even if total cost recovers. The equity overhang from the 2020-2021 hiring boom gets flushed. Third, it generates a restructuring charge that gets excluded from non-GAAP earnings, the adjusted EPS number Wall Street actually prices. The GAAP loss looks bad for 1 quarter. The adjusted number looks clean forever after. That's exactly why a layoff announcement is a capital reallocation press release wearing a cost-cutting costume. Next time a tech layoff headline hits, run 3 checks. What is the disclosed restructuring charge relative to the annual savings claimed? Is there a simultaneous capex or AI investment announcement? Then pull the 10Q 2 quarters later and look at contractor and vendor spend trends. Call it the layoff arbitrage pattern. The numbers will tell you whether costs actually fell or just changed desks. 12,000 jobs eliminated. A $2.1 billion bill issued the same quarter. Every dollar of salary savings rerouted into GPU depreciation schedules Wall Street reads as ambition. The column changed, the cost didn't. Subscribe. Every video on this channel unpacks the financial mechanism hiding behind the press release.